paper to web,
Yeah.
Yellow Pages, Yell, Google. What's beyond Google?
We're very much assessing the situation. I think if I said I completely knew and I knew exactly what was going to happen, I'd be lying.
You'd also be a very, very rich man.
Well,
because
exactly.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, I think Google obviously is going to work very hard to protect their search business. They're probably got more threats than perhaps they've ever faced in that area. And then even more exciting than that, our latest product that we've been developing with yourselves as well, will actually use AI for telephone outreach, capacity concerns, no sick days, the AI doesn't go on holiday.
Hi, I'm Freya. Welcome to the Skynet Chronicles, Business in the AI Age, the podcast that dives deep into the world where artificial intelligence meets business. Join us as we explore the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities in this ever-evolving landscape. From innovative startups to established enterprises, we'll uncover the secrets behind the successful integration of AI technologies. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and get ready to unlock the mysteries of business in the AI age.
Good morning, Adam, and welcome.
Morning, Tim.
So let's start with a nice, easy one.
Okay.
Tell me what active internet marketing offers.
We're a multi-channel digital marketing agency, particularly focused on independent SME businesses. We offer all the services that you'd expect from a digital marketing agency, but the large majority of our revenue is focused around SEO and search engine optimization.
Awesome. So why did you choose to target SME owner managed?
It's quite a long story. Do you want the longer version?
I don't mind which version.
Many years ago, showing my age, I actually used to work in print advertising. And back in 2002, I worked at the Yellow Pages. And the Yellow Pages
This was pre-Yell.
Yeah, exactly. It literally was Yellow Pages then. And Yellow Pages essentially was the Google of its day. So if you had a leak, you needed a plumber, rather than picking up your mobile phone that you would do today and Googling it, you would flick through the book and find somebody to give you the product or service that you need. And as that evolved onto the internet, at the time, Google used to index websites around every 2 weeks. So we literally used to sit and tinker with websites, change certain things within them, wait 2 weeks, see if it had a positive or a negative effect, and try to work out how we make websites climb. So it evolved from print into search engine optimization. And we grew that business and it was successful. And then we've obviously taken on other services as we feel that we've got a good solution for that SME client.
But why specifically SME rather than where people naturally think the money is?
Yeah. Again, I would say Yellow Pages to thank for that, really.
Yep.
Yellow Pages obviously did have large advertisers, insurance companies, etc. But in any given town, it would have your accountant, your solicitor, your plumber, and every other service there. And what I found from selling to them originally in the book, and as that progressed on to supporting them with digital marketing, you can deal with the owner. You can get decisions, you can see exactly what impact it's making to that person, rather than chasing corporate businesses where you might wait 2, 3, 6 months for a decision. You've got a group of decision makers.
Yep.
You're waiting another 90 days to get paid.
No death by consensus.
No, exactly. So I would say it was unintentional partly, but I kind of saw the benefits of dealing with that market. And I think it's a very loyal market as well. We still have clients that used to deal with me at Yellow Pages. They've dealt with me in several businesses afterwards, and they're still a client today.
It's just people by people, isn't it? It's easier to build relationships with the key decision maker. And if you get to the right size business, it is really just one person.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
get to know that owner manager, make a difference to their business. You can be their partner on an ongoing basis, can't you?
Completely. And I even sat at home this Christmas this year, and a couple of people literally texted me on Christmas Day and said, "Thank you, Adam, for helping me look after my family this year and helping me with my income." And I think all of the work that the most part of our clients get originates with us, and they see that, they see the benefits, they grow with us and us with them, and we retain people for a very long time, and that's been a key to some of our success.
Somebody said to me, there's no point driving past the businesses that you could work with on the way to get new business.
Absolutely.
And if you only need to look within a sort of 10 to 15 mile radius of where you live or where you're based, there's so much opportunity, so many businesses that you can help.
Yeah, huge.
And you don't need to go traveling the world. I mean, people will come anyway.
Yeah.
But if you focus on your core, then it's easy, isn't it?
Completely. And incidentally, in the last 2 or 3 months, we've picked up a client that turns over $1 billion. We've got another client that was recently sold to a business for $1.5 billion. So we do have bigger clients, and we deal with some household names, but our priority is always working with owner operator SMEs, and it's served me and the business very well for several decades now.
Fantastic. So paper to web,
Yeah.
Yellow Pages, Yell, Google. What's beyond Google?
We're very much assessing the situation. I think if I said I completely knew and I knew exactly what was going to happen, I'd be lying.
You'd also be a very, very rich man.
Well,
because
exactly.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, but we are assessing it very closely. Funnily enough, I was thinking about it the other day. I actually left Yellow Pages in 2006, I think it was, and they continued to print the book for another 10, 12 years after that.
Got thinner and thinner, didn't it?
It did. You could literally watch it, and rather than being a doorstop, you could post it under the door. But yeah, it for a 10, 12 year period, I can't remember the exact date, but it continued. And obviously the rate of change today is so much quicker. Things evolve so much more rapidly. But I think, we've negotiated through that transition. We've negotiated through several recessions and economic ups and downs and etc. And in terms of how people are searching and if they're modifying their behavior, we're assessing it, making allowances accordingly. I think Google obviously is going to work very hard to protect their search business. They're probably got more threats than perhaps they've ever faced in that area. So we're keeping a very close eye on what they do. We're also familiarising ourselves with other technologies. And people obviously are talking about using AI for search a lot more. I tend to use it myself a little bit, but more for research rather than search, in terms of, if I need a service in my local area, I don't generally use AI, but for research, I would use AI rather than Google quite often. So we're monitoring the situation, and we'll see. And obviously I'm ready to listen to you as well. We discuss it, don't we? So,
We do. I think it's an ever-changing space.
Yeah.
And I think rather than it being a search is dead, search is definitely changing. And where that search is executed is changing. So Google having a 90, whatever the percentage is, scarily high ownership of search.
Yeah.
That time's gone.
Yeah.
Will there still be a place for Google-based products in the search mix? I'm sure there will.
Completely.
They're going to push an awful lot of capability through their DeepMind and Gemini product base. And we'll see AI-based features become more and more of the Google search experience.
Definitely.
But you're already seeing a lot more traffic coming from ChatGPT than than would have been expected in terms of the rate of change.
Yeah.
I think the adoption there is quite fascinating, and it is just becoming people's not quite operating system yet, but I think that's the way it's moving.
Yeah. No,
So
I
you
tend
can
to
just
see
get
that.
things done there, do your research. And I think it has just as much of an impact on Amazon as it does on Google, because you think most people will do some research and then they'll see what the prices are in various places. Some people do their entire buying experience within Amazon.
Yeah.
But what if they don't have the cheapest products there? Because really they're just a layer where they're charging a service fee for sellers all over the place and providing fulfillment. There's plenty of opportunity for upstarts to get into that space.
Absolutely. I think what's really interesting for us as well, again, I hope and I think that we're slightly protected with the SME market that I mentioned, owner-operator businesses, because a lot of those businesses, their client generally will be people with disposable income. They could be 30, 40, 50 or older homeowners. They're using the tradespeople, they're using the services of solicitors, accountants, whoever that might be. And I think those people are probably a lot slower to adopt technology than, say, a teenager who will be, on TikTok and will be using AI quite significantly. Anecdotally, when I speak to people in that group, although there is a take up and it is growing, it does seem to be a slightly slower shift, and we've seen that with other things over the years, that they're not always the quickest embracing the change, and we're slightly protected there with our clients as well, I think. So it gives us
I think you're protected for a different reason. I think you're protected because of the relationships you've built with your clients and that there's trust there.
Yeah.
And you're not sitting selling the same services forever. You're evaluating what should be done, developing different product offerings, taking those, testing them, and then sharing those abilities with clients. So you'll continue to be that trusted partner.
Yeah.
And so you're protected because you're helping those businesses increase their revenue. And what business doesn't want to increase revenue, or at least put more profit to the bottom line?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think, my client's client is probably going to be a slower change as well. So hopefully, like I say, we'll continue to assess it. We'll monitor the situation and refine our approach accordingly.
So one way that you could look at websites as sort of a window into a business is it's very reactive. It's waiting for somebody to find it. And you can use SEO to help more people find it.
Yeah.
But you're currently looking at ways of identifying potential opportunities for your customers in terms of who they might want to target and different ways of reaching out to them, aren't you?
Yeah, so we've two things that spring to mind, really. Like you said, people that are doing a Google search often have an immediate need. They're looking for a solution to a problem, and they can immediately get someone. So that's great. We've actually doing a lot with outreach on LinkedIn to very targeted people that our clients want to deal with. So that's the kind of outreach there, which is proving really strong. And again, big take up, a big proportion of our clients are taking that on to sit aside their SEO. And then even more exciting than that, our latest product that we've been developing with yourselves as well, will actually use AI for telephone outreach. So again, we can highly target who the prospects are. We can approach them proactively rather than waiting for them to have a need and use the search engines. We can get appointments with them for a consultation. They can get booked into the diary, and the whole system can essentially be automated. There's no capacity concerns, no sick days. The AI doesn't go on holiday.
The AI doesn't go and get a tan.
No, exactly. So so absolutely fantastic. And we're already speaking to people in a number of markets where they can use that facility. So opticians is one that jumps to mind. Obviously, people need regular eye tests, annually or frequently. MOTs, and there's all sorts of products and services where our clients have got the data, they've got the relationship with a customer, but having the mechanism to proactively contact those people not only brings the business in for them, but they're actually giving a better service to their client as well.
To their existing client base. I mean, for me, it's part of layered communication. You have the old 7-11 4, it's 7 hours, 11 points, 4 channels, but actually we can increase the spectrum of communications that we're sharing. So if somebody doesn't respond to a text, if they don't respond to an email, then it's another layer on top. It's not necessarily something that you run straight to. It's certainly not something that is just direct cold outreach to potential people. It's interacting with your existing customer base to give them a better service.
Yeah.
So that you can provide the services that they're already paying for often, but just ensure that better experience.
Definitely.
So I love this as a technology. It's game-changing is overused, but just the combination of these different building blocks, the ability to understand language, the ability to create a voice that's realistic, the ability to do that at runtime, so that you or I don't necessarily notice that we're talking to an AI. We would usually declare, I'm an AI agent working on behalf of, but fundamentally that capability then tied to the ability to book in a meeting, to pull in data from another system, to pass that on, to understand time-wise and sequencing when to do something. It's incredibly powerful.
I feel it is a game changer, particularly for our SME clients, because the alternative of hiring a full-time person, training them, managing them, PAYE, etc., just makes that cost inhibitive for a lot of those people. But this system can be tailored to them at an affordable level. We go for a full consultation period, as you know. We make sure that it's working exactly for them to get the desired result. And the alternatives in terms of a human to fulfill that task just takes it out as an option.
Fundamentally, it doesn't happen because it just becomes something, I need to do that. And then there's something more interesting you do instead.
Yeah.
So if you can take away those monotonous admin tasks, even if you apply this to following up on bad debt, almost every business struggles to get paid.
Yeah.
Well, that can be an automatic trigger into a system that knows, okay, debt's coming past due, send a text message, send an email, follow up with a call, follow up with another call, follow up with another call. Have you paid yet? Have you paid yet?
No, absolutely.
If necessary. The fact that you can be used for so many different things that just don't happen well in a business, those little boring admin repetitive actions that if they're done right, make a business highly successful. We can help more businesses get that right.
Completely. And we know, people are so busy. I'm sure you have it yourself that you'll get a text, oh, your MOT, and at the time you're in a meeting or you're doing something else and you have every intention of booking it, and then a week passes and you get another text and you're busy here, and then you do need that repetitive communication, I think, as reminders, and it might be the third, fourth time you think I must do something about that now, and we can give those SMEs that mechanism of achieving that, where really it would only be much, much bigger corporate businesses that could generally do that. So it is a game changer, I think.
And I think if you take the technology that's coming a little step further to having faith that calendar management is being done well by an agent, then I won't need to respond to those text messages. A request will come through and it will communicate with my calendar and it will book a meeting because I'll have given approval for these businesses to be allowed to book time in my calendar in these windows.
Amazing.
And then that calendar interaction, it's so monotonous at the moment.
Yeah.
You have to dedicate time to making sure you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Which we don't need to do. So that'll get sorted soon.
Brilliant.
But Interesting. So if we think now the opposite end of the spectrum, so we know AI is coming, we know it's changing search, we know it's changing outreach, it's changing communication to make sure that things happen consistently. Why do we still network?
I think the human element is so important. I mean, myself, I'm a very proactive networker, I would say. I'm very consciously and consistently making sure that I show up and show my face. And even if it's, a lot of people that I've got a relationship with, I'm familiar with, that there's huge benefits, as you know, of continuing that relationship, making sure it's strong. They can recommend you to their network. So fortunately for me, and everyone else, but particularly for me, I think it's key that relationship and that human element is always going to remain. If I'm completely honest, I'm just a salesman. I would say that's my biggest and probably one of my only real skills. And
isn't it funny that we end up as salesmen?
Yeah.
Because that was the one role I never wanted to do, and it's basically my job.
Exactly, completely.
Talk to people about stuff that they have problems with.
And the human element and the problem solving and the confidence and the trust that we've already mentioned, I don't think that's going anywhere.
No, I don't either. And we've both taken similar approaches within our businesses where we're bringing in relatively early career people.
Yeah.
And we're throwing them headlong into networking.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, you're now networking.
Yeah.
Here's where you're going. And partly leaning into those ecosystems as part of the training model, because you know that by them having to turn up every week, it's naturally going to grow their interaction skills. It's going to grow their sales. And we're taking developers who would definitely far rather be in their bedrooms and forcing them into networking.
Yeah.
And it will make them future salespeople, future leaders of businesses.
Definitely.
Because they'll have those soft skills that are going to be so important.
I think it's, as well as benefiting the business, is so important for those young people, particularly because, like you said, they can be quite isolated. They wouldn't necessarily get exposure to that environment. And generally people are really keen to see new people. They want to chat with them. They want to help young people. They want to engage with them. So I think it's crucial for them.
I took my son, well, I think he was 17, 18. He was still doing his A-levels, and I took him along to a BNI meeting in Peterborough. And there was 55 businesses in the room.
Yeah.
And he was there to promote the escape room that he was working for at the time.
Right.
So he went along and he did his little presentation and did a great job. Everybody complimented him afterwards. He was confident, he was controlled, really the perfect job. But he then put that on his CV that he'd presented to a room of 60 businesses and shared about this escape room. And that came up in his interview at Bakkavor, where he got himself an apprentice job. So because of that experience, that gave him the confidence. That may have been the difference in that assessment process.
Completely.
Who knows? But just the fact he had that inbuilt confidence because he'd already been through the fire.
Yeah.
And I think the only way you get more comfortable at presenting, the only way you get more comfortable in having conversations with basically anyone is to do more of it.
Completely. Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's incredibly powerful, and we'll keep on doing it for as long as we have a company.
Yeah. And same for us. It's a big part of our route to market. And a very important sort of central part of it. So, yeah, definitely.
So what's after active internet marketing?
A beach.
Beach. Where? Which beach where? Because there's a lot of beaches.
Yeah. No, we've, at the moment, we're working through a plan to scale up the business. I'm part of a mentor ship with the 9th richest billionaire in the UK, a group there where we work directly with him. We work with some of our peers within the group. We've got a very precise goals that we're working towards.
Nice.
I think over the next 4 years, looking to scale the business quite dramatically. And my plan is that I would like to sell the company at that point. And then it'll be a series of beaches, I think.
It'll be a series of beaches.
Yeah.
And I suspect that will last 12 to 18 months at the very most before there's another business.
Who knows?
And probably a lot less than that.
Yeah,
But maybe not as
potentially.
intently.
Yeah, I mean, my work pattern, probably the same as yours, is whatever needs doing, when it needs doing, it gets done.
Yeah.
So if I'm on a beach, as an example, then my phone is often in my hand and things are getting done, whether that be on email, phone calls, etc. And I do think if that was completely removed, as nice as it sounds in theory, I probably would miss it. So I think you're probably right.
I think there's a period where you read books, you'll watch films, you'll laze on beaches, you have some nice cocktails, go dancing somewhere. But then somebody you meet will go, well, I've got this idea.
Yeah.
And you'll go, okay.
Yeah,
Let's go.
absolutely. Yeah, it's built in, isn't it? You can't
think so.
You can't resist.
No.
You can't resist, really.
It's not even a desire to make a difference, it's a desire to do something that's fun and challenging.
Definitely.
And I think once you've got that bug, it's very difficult to get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, the focus completely is on scaling.
Of course.
And we, we're on track with that. I'm very pleased. We've got an excellent team. We've put senior managers in. They're highly motivated. They're doing a fantastic job. So at the moment, I'm actually really enjoying where we're at, and I'm really looking forward to seeing exactly where we can take that and what we can achieve.
I think that process that you're in with sort of the mentorship and the peer development, you can't really stress how important having peers, other business owners as a council to talk about the things that you can't share with your team, you can't share at home, about the challenges that are going on.
Yeah.
And I think wherever you get that as a business owner, it's really, really powerful.
Definitely.
We're in a couple of different ones at the moment. We're part of a mastermind that I've been in for, I guess, 6 years with local business owners. But we've recently joined the Dent Global boardroom, which is another brilliant experience in terms of making you work through a set process, making you think about things, but just as much having a peer group of business owners that you can bounce ideas off.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's invaluable. I get a huge benefit from it. It's formed some great relationships with the people there. And the reality is often just hearing that they often have exactly the same problems as you, maybe on a larger scale sometimes, or in a different sort of manner occasionally, but essentially the real crux of it, that the issues are very similar, and even that can be a bit of a comfort, really. And then when you look at solutions as a group, and you work through that together, and then you meet with them again. You find out what difference it's made, that they've put these things into action. And again, we're all grateful to each other for the help that we get from each other. And yeah, I would recommend it to any business owner without a doubt.
It's also that accountability. Last time we met, you said you'd do these things. It's been a month.
Yeah.
What have you done?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it forces you into working on the business and moving the business forward.
Yeah.
I think it's super powerful, but it's also just relationships, isn't it? It comes back to people spending time with people. There's so much things that we can apply AI to within our businesses, but actually building those relationships and learning from other people's experiences is still incredibly powerful.
Definitely. I think as a support for myself already, AI's got a huge value, and it really does help me, in what I'm trying to achieve. But the other aspects, like you said, relationships, the experience, the real world stories and past things that have happened that you can guide people with, the strategy and how you set things out. Fortunately, it's not taken me over yet. So
no, I think the interesting thing is we look at active internet marketing. Obviously, you're providing marketing services, and actually, it is very easy to produce AI slop, poor quality, low value content, and how we balance that ability to produce content while maintaining authentic and value add meeting the needs of what the AI models are looking for in terms of their answers, but also ensuring that we're accurately and authentically representing brands is going to be more and more important.
Definitely. I mean, we have a whole team of content writers, as you know, and I would love to put them onto other tasks, and I would love to, make cutbacks in that area. But the value that they add actually is huge, and I think if we, adopted AI content fully and it was just churned out, it would kill our business. I also wonder, I think the internet literally would become full up of meaningless text. It would go on forever and ever.
So I think that will happen. And I'd argue that's been happening since we launched the internet and made it publicly accessible. Anybody could put up a holding page with website coming soon and put whatever they wanted on it. So we were already producing lots of content, and a lot of that was less value add.
Yeah.
I think there is a place for AI in that production process in terms of coming up with the ideas, in terms of applying a consistency of a tone of voice, in terms of potentially drafting first versions, but having human checks and balances in place, making sure that it is authentic, it is on brand, it has the right nuances in it, removing any fingerprints or indications that it's been produced by AI, both in terms of digitally, but also actually making sure it's great content. I think the right place is the hybrid of two.
Yeah, I agree and that's exactly what we work with. I think as a research tool again, it's brilliant and so much more effective and efficient than a human being sitting there doing it like they would have previously. But it's the balance. It's the balance, really.
So how long do you think it's going to be until there's a business that has no employees?
Well, I guess if we really thought about it, there probably is a few that are almost there. I think it will be surprisingly quick. I think probably 18 to 24 months. I wouldn't be surprised if there are businesses and industries that is the expectation. I think from our business, I see it being a lot further off before it has a meaningful impact in terms of reducing any headcount. I think in terms of new positions as we're scaling up, we're always looking at how we can do that. But in terms of reduction, it's a long way off for us. But I wouldn't be surprised if 18, 24 months, there's businesses that consistently, there's an awareness, it's immediately obvious they don't have any, and I mean, you only got to look at Amazon. They're bringing out shops, aren't they, that will run without any employees essentially.
Yep.
And obviously they have people ordering the stock and etc. But if you took it out as a part of the greater Amazon business, you could see that ordering, that forecasting of stock, that arranging those logistics. The people that are doing those roles could actually be cut out pretty imminently. So it wouldn't take a lot.
I look at McDonald's and Domino's as a franchise model, and you think, okay, it's a highly successful franchise.
Yeah.
Lots of people buy those food, especially on the weekend after a few bites. What would it take to completely automate a McDonald's? What would it take to completely automate a Domino's pizza?
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much there in terms of technical capability. The speed of the robots in terms of operation and applying some of the things need a bit of tuning.
Yeah.
But we're already at a point where they're trying to encourage you not to order with a person.
Yeah.
To use a digital interface, to use an app. It's coming, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not far off.
Fascinating. So have you seen that Meta making a move to make some of the traditional media agencies redundant?
I haven't actually, no. No, tell me a bit more about that.
And I'm going to badly paraphrase it, and I think the article I saw was Zuckerberg being badly paraphrased too. But essentially, they're trying to make it that the only place you need to go to create your ads and publish your ads is just give Meta some money.
Right.
And they'll know what sort of ads are going to cut through. They know how to target your ideal customer persona.
Yeah.
So just trust us. Just give us a check. Just give us your direct debit mandate.
Yeah.
And we'll run the ads that will get through. And they'll do all of the ad creation. So instead of there being ads that are created that are effectively built at big budget for non-personalized audience, Super Bowl, internet, ads in whatever streaming service you're watching. Instead, it becomes hyper-personalized content that the algorithm has said will cut through, produced very, very quickly. But from a brand control of making sure it's represented appropriately and accurately, those controls are going to be important.
Yeah.
But WPP is already seeing massive reductions in revenue, and lots of the big sort of 4 agencies are.
Yeah.
As the brands are getting used to using AI tools on their own, taking that power in-house, and meanwhile, Meta are going, well, you know what, you don't even need to do that.
Yeah.
You could just give us some money and we'll do it for you. We'll make sure that the right people see your content.
I mean, again, fortunately for us, I think the way that we approach things, the service side, will be a certain saviour to a certain extent in terms of like WPP, funnily enough, a division of them is our client and we deal with them. So that's an example of that. But coming back to the Meta thing, I mean, we'll have to see. I think what's really interesting, I mean, how many crazy adverts do you get on your phone from the most random things that you might have spoke about?
Any.
Really?
But that's because I'm not on social channels that show them. I've got YouTube Premium, so I don't see any ads there.
Yeah.
I don't use WhatsApp, so I won't be getting any messages now that WhatsApp are rolling out ads in app.
Yeah.
I don't see any on my phone.
I mean, some of the stuff that I see and my partner sees, she gets the craziest ads come up from random conversations we've had, and it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I don't believe that. Two things really. I don't believe that the brands will trust it, or if they do, they'll regret it quite quickly and rewind a bit. But in the local market, in terms of what our client is and what we're interested in, that local narrative and how people expect to function in that area and the local knowledge and etc. I think they'll be miles off from getting that. So hopefully we're quite protected again.
But I think you're protected because of the people relationships and because the sorts of businesses that both you and I like working with are owner managed, where they've got a vision and we can help them achieve their vision. Yeah. And if we're doing that in partnership, then it doesn't matter what ad platform comes along and says, "Oh, you can have this snake oil and it'll make you more money." It's like, let's work on proof. We've done this thing. This thing's made a difference. Let's do more of that. Now let's try this thing.
No, definitely.
I think evidence-based is the way forward, and just those small projects to start with show how you can make a difference. You can't argue with that, and it just builds confidence and trust over time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, it's been fantastic chatting, Adam. Thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great.
Awesome.